Okay, we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Nova MMA show. I'm gonna start recording now, so we're gonna roll that intro one more time.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the Nova MMA show, episode 2. I'm your host Nick with my co-host here Giovanni, and we got quite a bit to unpack this week. We are coming off of two events. We're coming off of Usman versus Burns. And we're also coming off of a fight night, Lewis versus Blaydes. So, before we get into all of that, I'm sure you guys see this nice new setup that we have here.
Yeah.
Giovanni, I'm not sure if you want to put this on our story, but we can put it on our
Yeah,
story
sure.
and
Sure.
post like that we're live and see if we can
Yeah.
have any viewers
I'll get
join.
on that just a second.
Yeah,
All right.
see if you can pull up our live stream here.
Yeah. Damn, that is hard. You're right. Okay, let me just get a picture. Hold on.
I'm telling you, it's dope. It's fucking dope.
The camera wants to work. Right.
Yeah, okay, so we got
All
two
right, I'm gonna
viewers
post it up on
watching.
the story. Oh, that's pretty dope.
Well, you know what I should be doing right now is sending the link over to everybody. Should have done this ahead of
Not a
time.
bad idea. Not a bad
See
idea.
if you can grab the link and start
Yeah.
sending to people, because that's what I'm gonna be
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
right now. Straight from the desktop.
All right. Let me post this picture up on Instagram.
Okay, so do you want to start talking about the events then,
Yeah, sure.
or did you
If you
want
wanted
to
to
wait
go ahead and
until we have some? Oh, okay. No, we're starting to get some viewers. Some people are starting to join in.
yeah, 5 people in.
All right, all right. Not bad, not bad. All right. So, why don't we start with the pay per view first? And just for the audience, so you guys know, we're going to be running through Usman versus Burns, the main card, and we're also going to be running through Lewis versus Blaydes, the main card. If there's anything notable on the prelims or something that we missed, feel free to let us know down in the comment section. But for the most part, for these podcasts, we're going to be covering just the main card, just so we can keep it short, sweet, and simple. So, let's talk about Usman versus Burns, Giovanni. So we started off that card with Maki Pitolo versus Julian Marquez, and that was a submission in round 3. What did you think about that fight?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't get to watch the fights, but I've seen some of the highlights. It was a great submission. And I'm pretty sure that was the guy who he tapped out a 2-time ADCC champion, and that's like big news in the jiu-jitsu community. So that's gonna get him on the radar of other fighters. Probably get him more fights, and he'll climb the rankings.
Yeah, I agree. I gotta say, I mean, I watched the pay per view. I have to say that was really surprising to see Pitolo kind of outclassed, completely outclassed, and he's a multiple time Brazilian Jiu Jitsu world champion. So for him to get outclassed by somebody as in quote unquote inexperienced as Julian Marquez, I mean, that
Yeah,
was something to see for sure. it seems like Pitolo kind of blew his his gas tank early on. He got really tired towards the end. And Julian Marquez just kept going. I mean, he's a tank, and he showed he was a tank, especially during the fight. So that was definitely something to see. It was something to watch. Then we
Yeah,
move
for sure.
forward up the card to a featherweight bout between Ricky Simon versus Brian Kelleher. Brian Kelleher, Jova, that's the guy that's beefing your buddy Sugar. That's always talking
Yeah,
shit to your boy
yeah,
Sugar. He's always talking smack. But he got outworked by Ricky Simon. That was a great fight.
yeah.
Ricky Simon, I believe the first fight I watched him in was him versus Faber, where Faber got the best of him, got a TKO there. But Ricky Simon, he's a beast. I mean, he's 18-3. He won the decision. I believe that he deserved to win it, so I had no problem with it. What about you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ricky Simone versus Brian Kelleher was like a pretty one-sided affair on Ricky Simone's part. He got 72 significant strikes over 25 of Brian Kelleher's and six takedowns to Brian's 0. So it was a pretty unanimous win by Ricky Simone.
Yeah. Moving up the card again, we go to Kelvin Gastelum versus Ian Heinisch. What did you think about that fight, Jova?
I mean, that was a good fight. You know, there was entertainment on both sides. We got to see Kelvin's boxing again. Of course, you have to give him like a lower ranked opponent than, Darren Till or someone like that, because his last two fights have been pretty brutal. But, it was a good win on Kelvin's part. Ian was doing pretty well. It was a close fight. It really could have gone either way if you ask me. But I think what separated it was Kelvin's wrestling. He got 6 takedowns. Ian got 1. And that's pretty much what wrote the story was the takedowns. So you never know. We could see a part 2 of that. But to be honest, I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, Kelvin was on a 3-fight skid, losing skid. I mean, it was great to see him come back. We needed to see something from Kelvin just so
sure.
that we could see that he still belongs within the top guys there. He really showed his wrestling this fight, I believe. He had a lot of takedowns. He landed 6 takedowns out of 14. And for the most part, I believe it was pretty back and forth. I think that Kelvin probably got the better of the exchanges. And I just have to say, like, it was just experience. It was his experience over Heinisch, and just Heinisch being inexperienced, that I think Kelvin kind of just edged out the decision there. As far as what's next for Kelvin, I mean, I would like to see him go against somebody like Darren Till. No, wait, didn't he fight Darren Till?
Yeah, he
He
lost.
fought Darren Till. He lost to Darren Till. Yeah, what am I
He
saying?
lost to Darren Till by decision.
He lost to Darren Till. Okay.
Yeah.
Did he fight Whitaker? No, he didn't fight Whitaker. I don't think so.
No.
That's a fight I would like to see. I would like to see him and Whitaker run that. I think that would be a banger. That'd be a firecracker for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight.
Okay, moving up the card. Let's talk about Macy Barber versus Alexa Grasso. So, Alexa Grasso actually came over from Invicta not too long ago, and she was a hot prospect when she came. I believe she lost a couple of fights when she came over to the UFC, but it wasn't too bad. And Macy Barber, I mean, geez, she was coming back after that brutal loss to Roxanne Modafferi.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
my boy Jova smiling over there. I know. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Macy Barber. I think she's a little bit too cocky, but you gotta respect what she's doing and getting her name out there and making headlines. But I think she bit off a little more than she could chew. She was looking right through Alexa. She was already talking about her next opponent. Already talking about being the youngest champion of all time, wanting to shatter John Jones's record. I mean, I think when you set that kind of precedent for yourself going forward, you have these expectations that you set that you feel like you have to live up to. And then when you don't, your fall from grace is a little harder.
Yeah.
And when you're a young athlete like Macy Barber, like Alexa Grasso, I don't think that you can afford to kind of to do that, to bite off more than you can chew, to kind of dig yourself into a deeper hole. You know, it's one thing to say all these things and not be able to back them up, but when we haven't seen you in these kind of wars, when us as the viewers are getting to know you, getting to learn your fighting style, to make all these wild claims and not be able to back them up, I think it hurts them more. It hurts you more when you're young and when you're starting off. And I think really the key is to be humble. What about you, Jova? What do you think about that fight and Macy Barber and just the whole situation?
To be honest, the first time I saw Macy Barber was her fight against Roxanne Modafferi. I'm like, okay, this girl's really cocky. She better go in there and beat up Roxanne. But then you lose to Roxanne Modafferi by like a brutal domination. And then you continue up the trash talk. At that point, you're fighting Alexa Grasso, who's ranked five spots below you. So you're going to look past her. And then she beats you. Mouth is working more than your actual training. And I think she's just got to lay low for a bit, get that training in, find out what she's doing wrong, find out what she can do better, and then come back stronger.
Yeah, I mean, with the Modafferi fight, she got injured there, and I think she hurt her leg or something. She tore something.
Yeah.
And then Roxanne just kind of, cruised her way to a decision. She didn't even really capitalize on the injury. But yeah, I mean, Alexa Grasso, she looked sharp, man. Her striking looked crisp. Her grappling looked pretty good. Her defensive grappling was on point. I think she's something to watch. I would like to see her eventually fight Valentina. I think she has what it takes to compete with her. Do I think anybody could really beat Valentina? At this point in the game, no. I don't think so. Nobody can touch the bullet. I think the bullet's way too freaking... She's like a spy, man. She'll take your head off with a nice fucking kick, and you'll be sleeping. So let's move on to the main event. So the main event was Usman versus Burns. Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. These two were former teammates. They used to train together. They were very close. Lots of pictures of them together, and they were tight. They were teammates for years. And then this was kind of the fight where they were going to see like who was going to take over, who was really better. Kamaru actually left the gym and went to go train with Justin Gaethje's coach, Trevor Whitman. So he did a training camp with Trevor, and Gilbert stayed over at I forget what it's called. He stayed over at the original
I'm
camp.
not sure.
So
Yeah.
Gilbert had the original coaches and all the original teammates going into that fight. I personally gave Gilbert a pretty good chance in beating Kamaru.
So did I.
I thought if anybody was gonna get it done, that it would have been Gilbert, just because he knows Kamaru, and I don't know if you watched Uncle Chael's videos, but he was also talking about how one of those two guys knows who got the better of who in the training room, and up until the fight, and still a part of me believes that Gilbert got the best of the two of them in training. Because in the very first round, Gilbert dropped Kamaru with a overhand right that just, I honestly, I thought the fight was done. I thought that he was just gonna swarm Kamaru and, kind of do like a Henry Cejudo, TJ Dillashaw type thing, and just maul him and keep striking until the ref pulls him off. But Kamaru kept his composure. He didn't go to the ground with him. He chose to stand and bang with him. He picked his shots. You could really tell that he spent time working with Justin Gaethje and Trevor Whitman and sharpening those skills. His striking was very, very, very crisp. And he's got power, man. He was sitting Gilbert down with jabs, straight jabs, just sitting him down. And Gilbert, flying back and just planting his ass down. Kamaru's got power. He's not somebody that you want to mess with. He's not someone you want to stand and bang with. And in terms of his wrestling, I mean, he didn't really have to use it this fight, man. He weathered the storm. He saw what was coming, and he knew what he was preparing for, and he was well prepared. He came in there and he defended his belt. What do you think about that fight, Jova?
To add on to what you were saying about his striking, obviously he's crisp. He was sitting down on his punches, landing with his punches, not like he was rushing in and just blitzing him. Um, but at the end of the day, it just goes to show that Usman can put on entertaining fights. He's just that dominant of a champ. He chooses where the fight takes place, and that's pretty much it. Colby Covington, everyone's saying late stoppage, shouldn't have happened, or early stoppage, sorry. Jorge Masvidal, Jorge took that fight on short notice. But now you can't really say anything about Gilbert Burns. They both had full camps. They both know each other well. The only thing you can really say in Burns' defense is maybe the pressure got to him. He got starstruck. He was fighting for a title, and he folded under the pressure. But in terms of Usman, that was a great performance. Obviously, we'd like to see more of that, but you never know. Some of his fights are boring. Some of his fights are pretty awesome. But that's just how the game goes sometimes, right? You see the sparks of GSP in his fighting style. That's what I believe. He's just that dominant.
I think so too. I definitely think that you can ask the question now. Who is the welterweight GOAT? Has Kamaru kind of surpassed GSP? I hear the argument where he doesn't have the title defenses there, like GSP had, I think 12 or 13, and Kamaru only has 4. Like, so Kamaru's got to he's got a lot of work to do to catch up to GSP. But in terms of the caliber of opponents, I mean, the guys that he's facing, the guys that he's getting in there with, I mean, Covington, that was a war. To fight Masvidal on short notice like that, take him on. That's a badass right there. To take on a fight against a former teammate and just kind of put everything aside and sit him down like that and protect what's yours. I mean, he's doing everything right, man. I don't know why the fans aren't really grabbing to him. I maybe kind of think it's because he could be kind of cringy. But you know what? He backs it up. And when he gets in there, it's kill or be killed. And you got to respect that. How can you not want to watch him fight? You're either watching him to see him lose or you're watching him to see him win. So you're a fan either way, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about what this means for the welterweight division, because that's a mess right now. I mean, we saw Leon Edwards. He was booked against Chimaev. That fight fell out because Chimaev has lingering issues with COVID-19. And they have a replacement for him, Bilal Muhammad, who I believe actually fought on the prelims of Usman versus Burns. Yeah, he fought Diego Lima. For those of you that don't know, Diego Lima was on the Ultimate Fighter. He's been kind of a mid-tier contender. He's been kind of a mid-tier contender in the welterweight division. So, his win over Diego Lima was okay. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but he's getting a real opportunity against Edwards over here. Edwards is ranked number, 2 in the world? 3 in the world?
3.
He's ranked number 3. Okay, so you got number 3 versus number 12. Number 12 or 13. Bilal looked good. He looked good that fight. But does he look good enough to beat Leon Rocky Edwards on 2-3 weeks notice? I don't know, man. We're just going to have to see. I hope Rocky comes and makes a comeback. But also almost 2 years out of the octagon, ring rust is a real thing. We've seen it. So we'll see if it remains true for Leon. I hope he comes back, man. I hope he wins this fight. I truly do, because if we see him win this fight, I think he's really the only one who's game in the welterweight division to take on anybody. You see him, he wanted to fight Nate Diaz, he wanted to fight Covington, he wanted to fight Masvidal. He's not ducking anybody. Everybody else in the welterweight division, it just seems like they're just kind of chilling right now. That's the narrative, at least being told to the fans. So the guys need to pick it up. The guys need to fight. They need to headline some cards, headline some fight nights. Get your shit together, because we want to see you fight.
Yeah, if you were to ask me who wins that fight, Leon every day. Bilal, I don't think he has a chance unless he gets really lucky, because it just speaks for itself. I mean, a number is just a number, but at the end of the day, if you see the caliber of fighters he's up against, Jorge Masvidal, Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson, Kobe Covington, it just compare it to Bilal's neighbors, Li Jinglang, Hazmat Chimaev, who's a beast. He's going to be up there soon. Robbie Lawler, Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque. It's just not that kind of caliber. But if you ask me if I want to see that fight, that's going to be a no. I'd rather see Leon versus Stephen Thompson at the moment. All these guys that you said Leon's calling out, I think it's all talk. He's not fighting anyone because a lot of them fell through, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, if you wanted the fight to happen, it would happen. Kobe is definitely got a fight by now, so because you see he stopped talking. Jorge's probably got a fight. I think it's going to be them two next, Kobe and Jorge Masvidal. That would be a sick fight. But in terms of Leon versus Bilal, I don't know. It's not appealing to me. I'd way rather see it number 3 versus number 5 than number 3 versus number 12.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I don't think the fight really makes sense at all. I heard that Leon just wants to stay on the card, so they had to get somebody in there. He don't want to not fight, so he wants to stay active. He wants to come back, which shows, maybe he's got something to prove. So I hope he comes back. I hope we see a good Leon Edwards. Not to say anything negative about Bilal. Maybe we'll see something spectacular from him. But, he can't just come in there, cruise to a decision victory or a split decision victory, and then have everybody talking about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Come in there and really surprise everybody. One thing I have to correct so we don't get arrested by the casual MMA police is when we were talking about the first fight on the main card of Usman versus Burns, I got it mixed up with the last fight on the prelims, which was Anthony Hernandez versus Rodolfo Vieira, which is the fight where Rodolfo Vieira was a multiple-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, and Anthony Hernandez is the guy that came over with the submission. So I had to correct that there. Julian Marquez, though, versus Pitolo, that was the fight where the guy called out Miley Cyrus after he won. So, Julian Marquez, props to you. Kind of cringy, but honestly, we would love to have you on the podcast one day. So, sorry we got that mixed up. But, yeah, let's just clear that up here. I just had to get that. I had to get that out of the way. Moving on to Lewis versus Blaydes. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I only really watched the what's it called, the
Main
Alexei
event.
Oleinik fight and the Derek Lewis fight on this card. But I mean, Giovanni, we can take it away. So let's talk about the first fight: Phil Haas versus Nazarene Imalvev. That was a decision win for Phil Haas.
Wait, which one are you talking about? Say it again.
Phil Haas versus
We doing the main card here or prelims?
no, the main card. Oh shit, hold on. That wasn't the first
Yeah.
fight. Okay, sorry. The first fight was Andrei Arlovsky versus Tom Aspinall.
There you go.
And
There you go.
We saw Tom Aspinall come in there with a submission win over Andrei Arlovsky.
Yep. So if you're gonna ask me, Tom Aspinall is one of my favorite upcoming fighters at the moment. Him and Sugar are some beasts. Tom Aspinall I can really see being a high contender, maybe even champion later on in his career. He's pretty sure he trains with Darren Till down in England, but he's a beast. I've seen at least 2 of his fights knockout, and this one was a submission. Very nice. But about Andre, he's gotta retire. That guy. He's getting old, really old. And the game gen can't just keep feeding you wins if you're aging like that, right? The newer, younger guy is gonna come in 9 times out of 10 he's gonna win. But then again, you see stuff like Randy Couture, he can get it done. But it was a good fight. One performance of the night, got a nice $50K bonus. So hats off to Tom Aspinall, and I'd like to see his future fights. I see a lot in store for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a young prospect. Very impressive to come in like that and get a submission win over a guy like Andrei Arlovsky that has all that experience and octagon time. I mean, that was his 50th fight. So, Jova, to your point, what does he got to keep fighting for? At this point, I don't see him being a top contender anymore. He's just kind of hovering in the mid ranks. He's done his time. He's had a great career. He's been a champion in other organizations. He's been a champion in the UFC. Um, what else is there to do? I mean,
Yeah.
just nothing more for him. I think seeing that win for Tom Aspinall is very exciting. It's very exciting for the heavyweight division. We're starting to see some real skillful killers up there, which we'll get to in the next fights. So, Phil Hawes versus Nazarene Imavov. It was okay. It was a good fight. Phil Hawes cruised to a decision. It was pretty competitive. But for the most part, I wouldn't really argue with it. What about you, Jova?
Phil Hawes, I like him too. He's a good fighter. I think he deserved that win, obviously. 101 total strikes compared to Imavov's 87. But then you look at the takedowns, it's 4-0, right? So that writes a lot on the judges' scorecards. And there's not much to say about it. It wasn't like super exciting. There wasn't a finish. There's no awards. It's just another decision. Phil Hawes moves up in the rankings. Imavov's got to reevaluate his game plan and come back, see if he can do better. All right, moving on. Alexei Oleinik versus Chris. I don't know how to say that. Daukaus. I don't know.
I don't know.
But it was a TKO win for Chris. Round 1. 5 seconds left in the round. And it was pretty one-sided even before that, right? 34 strikes to Alexei Oleinik's 6. Neither of them got a takedown. It was a nice knockout by Chris. 5 seconds left, right? Performance of the night bonus goes to him, 50 Gs. Not much to say. It writes for himself. He moves up. Alexei Oleinik moves down.
I think there was a lot of time left, bro. I think it was the middle of round 1. I think it was almost 2 minutes in to round 1.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm reading here. It was stopped at 4:55.
4:55. I'm reading here. It was stopped at. Well, I didn't watch this one. So
Yeah, I was working, so.
It says round 1, 01:55. But I didn't even watch that fight. So it could be 5 seconds left. Could be. But it doesn't matter.
Minute left.
It doesn't even matter.
A knockout's a knockout.
A KO, yeah. KO's a KO. Chris did a good job. He got it done. Charles Rosa versus Derek Minner. It was another back and forth fight. There were some submission attempts on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, Derek Minner landed the more strikes, landed more significant strikes. It was, pretty clear. He had more takedowns. Charles Rosa was just kind of really outclassed. So it wasn't really much of a competition there. What do you think about that one?
I mean, that's almost as unanimous as it gets, right? Charles Rosa is on a 2-fight skid now. He lost to another good fighter, Bryce Mitchell, another good fighter that I like seeing come up. But now he lost to Minner. There's not much to say. I'm pretty sure they're both black belts in jiu-jitsu. So, it's a battle of the belts. And Charles was on the losing side of that. Hopefully he can come back, win one, so he doesn't go on a 3-fight losing skid. That'd be even worse for him. But there's not much to say about that fight. Just another decision for Minner.
Yeah. Moving on, we had Yana Kudryavtseva versus Kaylin Vieira. I think Kudryavtseva looked good. I mean, she busted Vieira up with those elbows, got her bleeding.
Yeah.
Landed 215 strikes out of 247. I mean, goddamn. She just went off. What a performance. What did you think?
I mean, that was like I've seen highlights of that fight. Of course, I didn't get to watch it. I had other things I had to attend to. But 47 significant strikes compared to Caitlin Beer's 7. That's just very dominant. And Caitlin Beer was ahead of her in the standings too at number 6, and Yana was at number 7. So I don't know what I'm going to tell you. 215 total strikes to 35 is quite the margin. So we're seeing good things from Yana. She's going to move up, hopefully get a number 5 ranked or above, and I'd like to see her more in the future.
I agree with you, man. I think she could do some real damage in that bantamweight division. Moving on. Okay, so last fight that we are talking about. Dun dun dun. Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blaydes. My goodness, what a knockout by Derek Lewis. That was insane. What did you
Yeah.
think, Giovanni?
All right, let me take this. So all week I had people telling me, "Who do you think's gonna win? Who do you think's gonna win?" I said Derek Lewis every time. Derek Lewis, Derek Lewis. People are like, "No, Curtis Blade's gonna beat him. He's gonna wrestle him out. It's gonna be easy, right?" And you see it in the betting. 300 plus 300 underdog, and Curtis Blades was a minus 400 favorite. And boom, sure as you know it, Derek Lewis knockout in the second round. Brutal knockout at that. I've seen the replay. Oh man, that uppercut put him to sleep for a while. And not to mention the 2 unnecessary shots at the end. But the fight goes on until the ref takes you off of him, right?
Yeah, I mean, that fight, man, it was nuts. I mean, I watched it. I watched it 3 times. Um, you know, the first round it was really competitive. Curtis Blades, I think Curtis Blades walked away with the first round, and the second round, you know, Derek Lewis just kind of threw. And when you watch Derek Lewis fight, okay, I mean, you're watching a heavyweight. You're not watching somebody like he's not gonna put an output like Max Holloway. He's not gonna hit you and throw 700 strikes in one fight. But when he hits, when he hits, he destroys. To quote Rocky, when he hits, he destroys.
Mm-hmm.
That guy. I don't know if you watched the aftermath, but if you listen to it, because I watched it on Fight Pass, I had my headphones in. If you listen to it, you hear Curtis Blades wheezing and like it is fucking scary. It is something I do not want to hear again. If you haven't heard it, Giovanni, you have to go listen to it. But you can actually hear Curtis Blades just like wheezing for air, like after he got knocked out. He shot for a takedown, and Lewis just loaded up that uppercut and just caught him right on the money. He slumped over, and did you think those follow-up shots were necessary? # super necessary or unnecessary?
There's 2 sides to every story, right? In terms of Curtis's health, no way. That was so unnecessary. You could see he fell in slow motion after Derek Lewis threw the uppercut. He was clearly out, stiff as a rock, right? But in defense of Derek Lewis, the fight's not over until the referee pulls you off of him. So you could land 5, 10 of those shots, and the fight will still be going on. And once the referee says it's done, then it's done. But in terms of him, Derek Lewis just throwing, I think he's not as dumb as people look. He was waiting for that shot, right? He was waiting for him to shoot a takedown, and as soon as he would shoot it, boom, uppercut right down the middle. And what do you know? It worked, right? So let's hope he bet on himself. He made some good money, even got a performance bonus, 50 G's in the pocket. And I just want people to stop sleeping on Derek Lewis. He's such a good fighter. One of my favorite heavyweights. He's hilarious, too. One of the funniest UFC fighters.
My balls is hot.
The classic line. I read something he said about all the freezing storms in Texas. He's like, because his balls was not hot when he was in Texas. That's why it was freezing. That guy's hilarious. Him and Darren Till, 2 of the funniest in the UFC. But in terms of skill, he's got the most knockouts in the heavyweight division now, more than Francis Ngannou, more than any other heavy thrower you could think of. And props to him. That's quite an accomplishment, especially in a division where there's a lot of knockouts. But I'd like to see him fight someone else soon, like a higher ranked. But who knows? They always sleep on Derek Lewis, and then they learn the hard way, right? Even Francis Ngannou got outclassed by Derek Lewis, and now look who's fighting for a title.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Lewis, it's been a ride with him. Following his career in the UFC, seeing his knockouts, he hits hard, man. And when he hits, he brings you to another dimension. Um, I can see why people would be mad about the follow up shots. Because, you have some guys in the sport that they can recognize when a guy's out and won't follow up. But when you really boil the sport down, these guys are fighting in a cage and they're told before the fight, don't stop until the ref pulls you off, and you're really not supposed to. So, um, can you be mad at Derek Lewis? I don't think so. Does he deserve any blame? No. He's a competitor, and he was doing what he's paid to do. He showed his respect. I mean, the best he could, just kind of standing there waiting for Curtis Blaydes to get up. Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight, great knockout for him. It'll be great to see. It'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. So yeah, I'm just excited to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. So what do we have upcoming? Let's see.
Yeah, let's talk about the upcoming fights. I was just about to say. We have Sterling versus Jan. I'm really looking forward to that one. Isn't Izzy versus...
Hold on. We have... okay, so we have 2 more weeks until UFC 259. Okay? Next weekend, February 27th, we got Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Cyril Gane. Gane's undefeated. He's coming off a big win over Junior Dos Santos. I believe he knocked him out. And Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he's 11-1. His only loss was to Francis Ngannou.
A brutal knockout by Francis.
Yeah, and that was not fun to watch either.
Mm-hmm.
But he came back and fought Junior Dos Santos and beat him, got a TKO, and he hasn't fought since Miocic versus Cormier 3. So it'll be interesting to see him come back and fight Cyril Gane. Then after that, we have UFC 259. Sorry. Let me talk about what else is on that card, though. We also have...
Yeah,
So to start off the card, we have Alex Caceres versus Kevin Kroom. We got Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. We got Pedro Munoz versus Jimmy Rivera. We got Montana De La Rosa versus Maria Bueno Silva. And then for the co-main, we have Nikita Krylov versus Magomed Ankalaev. And then we have the main event there. So are there any fights that you're kind of fiending to watch, Jova?
Yeah, for sure. Alex Caceres versus Kevin Kroom is going to be a good fight, I hope, at least. Alex coming off a win over up-and-comer Chase Hooper. Kevin Kroom, pretty sure he's coming off a win too. I think I've watched a couple of his fights, but I'm not 100% sure. That should be an interesting fight. Angela Hill, pretty sure she's on a skid right now, maybe 2 fights. Bad decisions early last year. And, of course, the main events, Rozenstruik versus Cyril Gane. Who do you think's going to win that one?
Honestly, I think we're going to see what Cyril Gane is really made of. Whether a win or loss for him, we're going to see what he's made of. If he loses a decision and he goes, 5 rounds with a top contender like Rozenstruik, I think we'll see that he has some work to do and he'll come back from that. Or he could get finished and we could see that he needs more work. Or he could completely come in there and starch Rozenstruik and really show that he's the top contender. I would say that this fight kind of has more at stake for Cyril Gane in terms of this is like where we're gonna learn most about him as opposed to Rosenstrike. But I could be wrong. That's just how I feel, and that's my prediction. What about you, Joma?
I don't see the fight going 5 rounds. If you ask me, they're both heavy hitters. Of course, it's heavyweight, so that's just how it works in that division. But Rosenstrike has more experience, of course, so that's gonna play a factor. I don't. I think he might have been in a couple 5 rounders. Correct me if I'm wrong, but um, him versus Gain is surely gonna be an interesting fight. To be honest, it'd be pretty cool if we see Gain win and they go to 8-0, and then he'll probably get a higher ranked opponent because he just beat Rosenstrike. But Rosenstrike's last loss was to Francis Ngannou, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rosenstrike's first and only loss was to Francis. So
Yeah, that was. Oh yeah, and only.
he was out.
That was
It was not. It was not a long.
Yeah, it was like pretty sure it was like less than 20 seconds. From what we saw, he was doing good to avoid the strikes, but eventually he got backed up on the cage and it caught up with him. And Francis did what he does and he piled it on, and that ended the night. But other than that, he's a pretty good fighter. He's a knockout artist himself, as is in the heavyweight division. But Cyril Gane, I've seen a couple of his fights too. Frenchman, he's pretty good, and I'm hoping to see an exciting fight.
I agree with you, man. I want to save the UFC 259 talk for next week, just because we're pretty far away. We're 2 weeks out, so I feel like it'll just be better suited for us to make our picks and stuff for 259 next week.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's probably for the best if we do that, because then we get to make another video about it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
should we take some questions or?
Yeah, I guess we could take some questions if there's anybody still watching that wants to ask anything. Yo, what's up? I see our comments section.
Yeah.
Jeez, 5 viewers.
That's a whole hand. No, but if you guys want us to answer any questions, then do another 5-minute segment. Put it in the video.
True. For those of you that don't know, I also stream on Twitch a couple times a week. So maybe towards UFC 259, we'll do like a Friday night gamer, live stream, or like a Wednesday night, Tuesday night, something like that. One night of the week, we'll do like a late night stream, video game stream. Usually run some UFC. But I've been also getting into COD lately, so you can check out the stream. It's Nick's Live on Twitch, so check that out. Follow our Instagram, Nova MMA Podcast. Nova MMA .official, sorry. You can also check out our personal Instagrams, nickneri.png and giovanni.imbrogno. Is that how you say it, Jova?
Yeah, that's how you say it. That's how you say it.
All right, good.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to everyone for coming out. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, tell us what we can do better, what you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you.